I didn't know. Yeah, I'm ready. If y'all. Okay, let us pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for just a great day, and we ask for your help in getting our country back to normal, keeping people safe. We thank you for the men and women of Rotary and the commitment to duty above self and protect those first responders that are protecting us. And bless this lunch and our food and our body. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
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 All right, follow me in the pledge, please. I pledge
Okay.
allegiance
To the flag
United
States
States
of America
and
and
to the republic
republic
which stands
we stand
one
one nation under God,
God,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all. For all. Excellent. Excellent.
I
Excellent.
suggest the next time we do the pledge that we have the camera on one person's face so we can follow that person's lips and be in rhythm.
Yeah.
Well, and what I'm going to
I'm just trying to find
do,
a
when she starts
flag.
speaking, I'm going to mute everybody just so we can have one speaker without all the background.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Okay, so when I'll wait for John. John, you go ahead. Keep going. Let me know when I'm ready.
John, you're on mute.
John, unmute yourself.
Okay. All right. I'm unmuted, I think. Do you hear me?
Oh, I guess he's not going to intro you, so.
I know. All right.
I can't hear anyone else.
Good. Well, I want to.
Go ahead.
Are we ready? Do you want to say something before I begin?
No, we can't start. I just want to let everyone know that you're my cousin, Paul extending from New Jersey, and that you were going to be here in person, but for obvious reasons you cannot be here in person. So we'll.
This is the next best.
Next best thing. All right, Paul extending, you have the floor.
Right. All right. Super. Thank you, John. Now everyone can hear me, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, John. I want everyone to know that John is my first cousin, and I've known him his whole life. And I want to say I'm very proud of you, John, for serving 2 sessions of president of the Rotary Club. So congratulations. That's a wonderful achievement. That's a wonderful achievement. I'm very proud of you. And so I am a physical therapist, and John asked me to speak to the Rotary Club, and it was after I became an author. And in my, I guess about maybe 9 months ago, I came out with this book called Posture, Simply Posture, Correct Simply. And when I wrote this book, it's geared to children. And as a physical therapist, I work with all ages. And in my working with all ages, I decided that I was repeating myself a lot about posture. And so one day I said, like 10 years ago, I was going to write a book. It took me 10 years to get it together. And finally, in the last year, I actually signed up with Simon & Schuster and completed my book. So if we were in a live audience here, I'd say how many of you have seen my book, but we'll get into questions and answers at the end. How's that? Okay, good. So this book is geared towards children because I figured in order to get all age groups, we would have the adult, older children or nieces, nephews would read this. Moms and dads, grandparents would read this to the children so that everybody would get the message. And that's why I created a children's book, because I wanted, number one, for the children to get the message. The message is that gravity is around us all the time, and it's invisible. And we don't realize it, but when gravity hits us, it makes us grow shorter and rounded at the shoulders. And what I focus on I have two characters in my book, and their characters are slouch and correct. And these two characters are walking the dog, and eventually gravity is upon them, and eventually Slouch later that day feels muscle pain. And that is because he didn't use his muscles to correct his posture and go against gravity. And so then what, so I wrote this book so that the children could see that it made sense to sit up. Now, is there a way to get a picture of all the audience on the screen, John? Is there a way to get everybody on the screen? And that way I could see everybody.
There's.
But not really, right?
If you go to your right, you can see. I don't know if you can see everyone, but there should be an option where you can. Can't remember. No, I know you can see some of them, but all of them. Are you on your computer? I'm assuming, or on your phone?
No, I'm on my phone. I see. Yeah, I can't see them all.
Phone is gonna be difficult. Yeah, phone. If you're on your computer, you can, but not on your phone.
All right, then never mind. I know that you all are looking and listening, so that's cool. And later we'll unmute it, and then you guys we can chat, because I would like that. Okay, so the book has some very important parts, and one of the things I mention is, unless we're outer space or underwater, we're always subjected to gravity. And so because we live on Earth, we have to learn to use our muscles. So this is a guide. It's for preventing backaches. And if you understand your body's anatomy and how it works, then you have the ability to practice posture correction. In the book, I educate you about the importance of posture and the ability to correct it, just like slouch and correct do. Okay. So I've been dedicated in the practice of physical therapy for 33 years. John, how old are you? Don't answer that, because yeah. Well, that goes to say that I studied in Texas. I went to school at Texas Women's University, and that I went there while John was a little boy. Yep. Anyway, so I've been teaching people to practice postural correction through functional mobility. And everything we do throughout our lives affects our spine. And it's inevitable that we put repeated stress on our backs. So somebody needs to mute. Somebody needs to mute themselves.
That's
I'm
me.
hearing feedback. Okay, good. So everything we do will affect our spines inevitably, because it's the repeated stresses we put on it with the help of gravity that just increases that stress. So my message is that you can literally reverse the stresses that you put on your back. It is my intention to reach as many people as possible to teach the basic tools needed for a healthy back. Quite simply, correct posture. Now, first, it's important to know a few basics, anatomy. We have to know where our pelvis is. We have to know our spine. We have to know that there's discs in between the vertebrae of the spine. We need to know there are nerves coming out. And we need to know there's ligaments and there's muscles. So this is my skeleton. Let's see, you see, that might be a little bit difficult to do. But anyway, yeah, this is tough. Anyway, I have a skeleton and I'm not quite sure how to use it yet, but I'll just keep going. So in knowing that you have these different parts and understanding your anatomy, you have to understand too that your bodies are strong. And as long as we align the spine, we're going to be setting ourselves up for better function, okay? So our bodies are strong as long as we align our spine. It sounds easy, but the fact is we just don't pay attention. And then our muscles start to ache. And if we still don't pay attention, then what happens is we get nerve pain, or, you know, the disc starts to put pressure on a nerve, or you've been out of position for so long, your spine starts to get arthritis. And that is another problem that causes pain. So pain is the message we do listen to. But I'm trying to put that message out there where if we were to correct without pain on a habitual, everyday habit of correcting posture, we could maybe avoid the pain. So muscles are designed to help to make us move, okay? And we don't have to think about moving because our nervous system does it automatically. The nervous system connects to all of our muscles automatically. However, life places us in situations where we demand more from our muscles than the responding to the forces of gravity. So besides the fact that gravity right now is upon me, standing here, but if I were going to pick something up, I would then put myself in that situation of more stress. Our body's way of letting us know that our spine alignment is off, or that our muscles are being asked to do more than they can handle, is exactly the achy pain. That's our body's message. So the problem is that we often ignore it for too long, that our body is telling each of us. So who's responsible? Okay, as a therapist, okay, I ask this question all the time to my patients. I'm like, sponsor is you are. The patient is responsible. The individual, each and every one of you are responsible for your own body. So, for example, we can set examples for our children and our loved ones all around us. So if we just take a moment and correct, people are looking, especially the children, and they'll say, oh, look, you know, dad does this or mom does this. And then, you know, maybe they'll pick up on it. And then eventually, as they keep reading, they'll learn why. So in this book, you'll meet characters. Now I have, besides slouch and correct being the two figures, each slouch and correct have mega muscle, slinky spine, bravo pelvis, and gravity. And it's described, and I'll show you this picture where gravity is that superhero figure, and you got the lines coming straight down on slouch and correct. And I don't know if you can see it on your phones, but the bravo pelvis has, on correct, there's a smile face, but on slouch, there's a frown, because I'm trying to indicate that it's not happy. Okay, so they go on, and we see mega muscles, emotions displayed as happy face, and bravo pelvis and slinky spine are aligned, and when it's a sad face, that means that the spine and the muscles are not aligned. Excellent. So when should you correct your posture? And people have asked me all the time, and I say anytime you think about it. During a TV commercial, waiting at a traffic light, sitting in a meeting, waiting for a teacher or a friend, or before and after car rides. Those are just, few examples, but really anytime you think about it. Many times throughout a given day, correct posture is not only possible, but it's simple. Okay? And then so what if every time that you bent forward, you bent backwards to counteract the stresses? Practicing correct posture is easy. If you are able to move, correct posture becomes easier when you practice posture simply. Okay, so in the book, I have some pretty much bullets on how to correct. So just to show you that page. Okay, and so correcting posture and sitting. Well, sit on a firm surface with your hips level, the hips should be slightly higher than the knees, and the feet on the floor. Activate your abdominal muscle. And if you activate the abdominal muscle, it stabilizes your pelvis. Raise your breastbone. And then bring the head back so the chin is level, parallel to the floor. And then breathe in and out, okay? And then repeat, slouch and then correct. Slouch and then correct. And you do that all day long until you don't even have to think about it anymore because it becomes a habit. So correcting posture happens in sitting as well as in standing. And then I have it in here as well for standing. And it's the same kind of thing, except now it's stand with your feet shoulder width apart, shift your weight forward, engage and activate your abdominal muscle to stabilize your pelvis, raise your breastbone, bring the head back chin level, and that way, you see, this is slouching, and then correcting is bringing that ear over your shoulder, breathing in and out through your nose. And that, my friends, concludes the book. And I think it's about a 10-minute read, okay? And I have been putting it out there that I want this book to be in every child's hands. I want this book to be in libraries. I want it to be in doctors' offices. I want it to go around the world. And I have, the ability, if I need to translate it. But most of the time, English is pretty universal. And plus pictures that I have speak 1,000 words. So that is definitely my goal, is to get the book around the world. And speaking in public, like I'm doing here to you guys and at the Rotary Club, I'm hoping that I can educate you. Whether you buy a book or not, it's on Amazon. It doesn't, it matters, but it's that what you take away today that matters more to me. That if I can touch upon each and every one of you, that you are able, you're responsible for your own body, and you have the ability, if you can move, you have the ability to activate your muscles and correct your posture. Some people need a lot more time. Like I can correct it like that. Others need to work on it. Activating the abdominal muscle isn't that easy unless you've been introduced to it. Like if I had you guys in a room right now, I'd say, raise your hand if you know how to activate your abdominal muscle. And if you don't, that's where a physical therapist like me would come in and teach. It's like knowing where the muscle begins and where it ends. Muscles move bones. So I wanted to do an example of that. Let's see if I can somehow, there is my skeleton. And I wanted to give you an idea that this blue band is right here by the pelvis at the pubic bone. Okay, let me just get rid of the hands here for a minute, good. And then the abdominal muscle comes all the way up and attaches to this breastbone. Okay, so as you activate this muscle, it pulls up on the pelvis. It pulls up on the pelvis. Okay, I'm hoping that you can see that. So this pulls up on the pelvis, and that muscle helps keep the pelvis stable. And then you raise the breastbone, and of course this skeleton doesn't have a head, but then you would activate bringing the head up. Okay, all right, so that is kind of one of the things I wanted to also, I need another, there's another picture here that I want to show you. And this picture looks like this. Okay, now you can see the person standing the straightest is right here. And the ear is over the shoulder. But this person, the head is forward. And this person, the head is more forward. So what we say in therapy world is for every inch your ear is in front of your shoulder, you are carrying 10 more pounds. So normally, standing straight up, our head weighs about 12 pounds. But with that head being 2 inches forward, now we have 32 pounds on our shoulder muscles holding up our head. And then this, if we're really forward, and now our head weighs 42 pounds, and you see those muscles are aching. These muscles are aching, and these muscles are smiling. And they're saying, ha, I know how to align myself. Okay. All right. So I hope that I raised some questions. So I think this is a good time to open it up for questions. That would mean unmuting yourself when you want to talk. Hi. How did that go, John? So
They
far.
went very well. No,
Okay,
very
good.
well, very well.
Did you see this? Did you see the skeleton?
Yeah. No, I saw everything very well.
All right,
The
good,
skeleton,
good,
the picture,
good.
it worked. It worked.
All right, excellent.
It
So
worked.
does anyone have any questions? What? Does anyone have any questions?
I'll do this.
Got it. Then it was more breath. Anyway, the host just unmuted everybody.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask a question.
Can you hear me, John?
I can hear you, Mike.
Yeah, I have a question. I noticed that. Yeah, I went on the website and looked at your book and stuff, and I noticed that you really directed this, I guess, to children, but why children versus adults?
Oh, it's actually directed to children because I would like for a new trend to happen. And that is, I don't want our back pain to continue to be the #1 cause of people's pain. I wanted children to learn from as early as they can. So I address the adults in the literature. As you read the book, that's where the adults get addressed. So my book says it's for all ages. Does that answer your question, Mike?
Yes, it did. I thought that might have been the objective, and it certainly makes sense.
Great. Now, anyone have any other questions about yourself, about any aspect of what I'm talking about today?
Well, I had from my older son, early on I bought the yoga ball. I don't know, I guess that's helpful, keeps your middle section engaged. Use it quite a bit. I don't know if you're using it now, but when I tried to use it, it did give me back pain that didn't exist before, so maybe the height wasn't proper, I guess.
So who was talking about the Theraball? Let's see. No, that wasn't Mike. It was
It's Mike without an M. Ike.
Oh, Ike. Very good. Yeah. So Ike, let's get you back on this. Talk to me again, because then I get your picture. I think.
I had purchased.
Okay, there you are. So you used the ball, and it caused back pain. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it wasn't severe. I stopped using it, but I think my son used it all the time. So maybe we just started using it properly. It shouldn't have, right?
I would say on this particular topic, if anything causes pain, yes, you need to stop and then get proper counsel or proper direction. It could very well be a simple thing. Also, to use the ball, it doesn't make your abdominal muscle stronger just because you're on the ball. You still have to activate it while you're on the ball. So some people think, I'm going to go buy a ball and I'm going to sit on the ball or roll on the ball, and that's going to make my muscles strong. And I want to say that's only about 25% true. The other 75% actually comes into play when you have to activate your muscles while you're on the ball and using the ball properly. Does that help you, Ike?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. And then also
okay.
there's softwares that periodically remind you to move around.
Say that again.
You can load software on your computer that periodically remind you to move if people wanted to do. Timer set up.
Say that one more time.
You can install a piece of software, a program on your computer that can also alert you about movements you might know about.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. You have to share that with me.
Okay.
That's a very good program. I would love to know more about it.
Okay, good. Yeah, they have them.
Any more questions?
Direct you to sending something to me. Yeah. Any more questions?
Folks, I have a question.
Doing?
Do you work with say like other doctors, like chiropractors? This definitely seems something along a chiropractor's line. Have you?
Actually, I do not work with the chiropractors in my clinic, but I have patients that go to chiropractors and see me. And so in that respect, I communicate with the patient and the chiropractor, and the three of us coordinate our treatment together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
right?
I have a question for you.
Yes, Benton,
Yeah. How would you rate your nephew's posture?
say it again.
How would you
Benton?
rate John's posture?
How would I define posture?
Now, how would you rate John Costas' posture?
So, he wants to know how you rate John's posture.
Oh,
He wants
how
you to
would
pick
I
on your
rate?
cousin.
Okay, John,
Yes.
go. You would have to stand sideways so I can tell.
How you do that in the car?
Oh, he
Right.
just
He's
needs
out
to
of the car
move.
now.
Yeah. Well, actually, at this point, I can't rate it, but I can rate anyone who wants to stand. There we go. There we go. But the best way to look is the best way to rate it is I'm going to stand sideways. Do you see me right in my? Am I in the screen?
Just your head.
Yeah. And then if the earlobe is in front of the shoulder, right? Is my ear in front of the shoulder? Yes.
I can't see your shoulder.
Is everyone what? You can't see the shoulder. Okay. All right. Very good. Hold on. I got to move my. I know. Well, that's a little better, right? Good. So
Yeah.
if you're like head is in front, earlobe's in front of shoulder. See that?
Yeah.
It's in front of shoulder. That is increasing the weight on the shoulders. So now we're going to activate the abdominal, raise the head over the shoulder. Okay. That is what I'm talking about. What's the
Given that you serve nursing homes, one of the episodes, can you tell us some of your?
Sure. I work in the nursing home environment. At this, people have been in the hospital for maybe 4 weeks. And so they come to me at the nurse very weak, and they're in their bed. And I, as a therapist, have to assess how they move. Not even, some of them need a lot of my help to sit up and get out of the bed and into a chair. Some of them can do it with maybe just a little bit of my help because they're not as old, or I have like a 94, 96-year-old that needed a Hoyer, and now that 94-year-old is actually walking. So we're talking 3 weeks later, 3 weeks of physical therapy, 5 days a week. We got her away from the machine, and now she can sit at the edge of the bed, stand up to a walker, and walk. Today she walked 75 feet. Yeah. So, yeah. So my experience is, I become
relative to COVID, because nursing homes are one of the hardest.
Oh,
and
we'll tell you, Alex. I follow precautions. I'm wearing gowns and masks, double masks and gloves, but nobody in my nursing home has COVID. So I'm in a nursing home that's COVID free.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we want to keep it that way. So anytime somebody comes from a hospital, we put them in a single room, their own room, and we isolate them. So in other words, when I go and work with them, I have to wear a gown, double mask, and gloves. And when I'm finished with their half an hour treatment, an hour treatment, however long I'm in there, when I'm done, I take that stuff off, and then I go ahead and go to wash my hands, and then I go to the next person and put on the same equipment, and then I work with them. And that's how we keep it separate. For 2 weeks, they're isolated. And once they are done with their isolation, then we don't have to do that. Then we continue to work. And then some of them are going to be going home. Some of them will need a little longer rehab stay. And some of them might end up being in the nursing home. So it's all depending. But does that help answer your question, Alex?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, good. You're welcome. And y'all, on that note, whether things get lifted, like opening up the country, that kind of thing, I think that we should never forget to wash our hands really, really well, always 20 seconds with a lot of soap, regardless. And be mindful when we need to sneeze. We shouldn't sneeze in that hand. I like to sneeze in my shirt. I just cover up and sneeze in my shirt. And I've taught that to my nieces and nephews. So my chest gets wet. So what? I rather contain it on me than, putting the elbow over my mouth still, that's always a tough call. So we need to contain our own body fluids, so to speak, to ourselves. Let's keep our body fluids, or our spray of sneeze and cough to ourselves. And then we should all be fine. Okay, anybody else? How about the guy, I want to say Jim. Is this Jim? That's Gary. Gary, any questions?
No, the only thing I thought about is the posture for people using cell phones all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, or
well,
computers, or if you're at the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with a cell phone, the people are always got their neck forward, looking down at it, not paying attention.
Well, so let's pretend this is my phone, okay? And this is what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Like this?
Yes.
So I tell people to bring it up. I tell people to bring it up so that it's at their eye level.
Right.
You see that?
Yeah. Now I can see it, but most people don't know that, and they just always are looking down.
I agree with you there. So can you help spread the word?
Yeah, I try to.
And I want to say that I'm working on a revision of this book, and that's one of the things that's going to be in the book.
Yeah, it should be.
Computer, handheld, it will. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's walking dogs. I live in the country. but after this book came out, so many people told me exactly what you just did. What about the computers? And I'm thinking, I didn't put that in the book. So the next the revised copy of the book the second edition will have computer sitting at the desk and walking with your phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you. Anyone else have any? What?
You can add the timer software reminder that reminds them frequently to move. The piece of software that reminds people to move.
The software. You're talking about your software again, Ike?
Yeah, I'm thinking to add that to the book too. It's not my software, but people have it available.
Okay, I can't wait to see what you're talking about. That's great. Ike, what do you do for a living?
Engineer.
Aha! Then you are someone that, yeah. Well, I had in mind, wouldn't it be great if we had an app that would tell us to correct our posture? So if there's something already out there, I definitely want to know about it. So thank you for bringing that to my attention, Ike.
I have another question.
Okay.
I just converted my desk to a standing desk. But what do you think about standing desk?
Oh, I think that's a great idea. I think that when you are standing, you need to still follow muscle activation to correct your posture. So if you could, have equal weight on both feet, pulling up on the pubis, on the pelvis bone, and activating your abdominals. And then that way you're up, up, up instead of down, down, down. You see the difference? Yeah. Yeah.
Ironically, I found when I have a standing desk, if I don't have good posture, it makes it hard to stand for a long time. So it's a lot easier if I stand up straight like this, I can laugh.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And if you ask anyone that was in the military, they'll tell you the same thing. Because in the military, there are times that the soldiers have to stand for a long time. And I didn't investigate how they learn it, but I'm sure it's because they're physically fit and they are trained. So, remember that? I don't know if any of you, maybe you will remember that commercial, join the army, stomach in, chest out. Does anyone remember that? It was a saying, join the army now, stomach in, chest out. No? Nobody remembers that? It might have been from like the 70s, maybe the 80s, who knows? Anyway, okay. And maybe I'm the only one that remembers that, but that's okay. Yeah. Any other questions? You're very welcome. Stomach in, chest out. It's a good way to remember that. Feet equally apart. Stomach in, chest out. Then your head knows where to go because it's attached to your spine. How's it going?
I don't know. I must have learned the opposite way because my stomach is out and chest in, so I might have mixed
That is exactly what I'm talking about. When you were a child, you didn't have a book like this. And nobody, who taught us this? I know, it's not there. That's why I wrote a book, and that's why I'm eager to get this out. And so it's really stomach in, chest out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. That's a good point you make, though. Richard, any questions?
No, not
Yeah,
today.
they also said that
Appreciate your
our posture can control our mind. They also say that our posture can control our mind too. Standing up, I think, will give you a feeling of just better feeling.
Yes,
So,
yes, there's definitely, in business meetings, if you are standing with good posture, you present with more confidence. That is being more and more brought to people's attention when they're learning, like in network marketing conferences. They speak about the posture, and they use the word posture, and they're not even talking about activating your abdominal muscle and raising your breastbone. They're talking about having confidence. So they go hand in hand. So that's a really good point, Ike. Absolutely. Yeah. Good points. Good points. Love this group. Good job.
Thank you,
So
folks.
there was another. Yep.
You guys have questions?
There was someone, wasn't there? I'm not sure. Was I Benton? No, I can't remember. I see the name pop up for a moment, and then it.
That's sometimes it pops up. You can just make a sound in the room, and your face is gonna pop up.
Uh-huh. I see.
So, even if it's background noise, your face will pop up.
I want to just tell everyone that this book is in the hands of John's family, the Costas family. And to watch the kids interact with this book was the best gift that I could ever have. And that to watch the little kids hold the book, open the book, and their facial expressions looking at the book. So time will tell whether this sinks in. You know, I know with my nieces and nephews, now the youngest is 10 and the oldest is 21 or 22. Of course, I'm their aunt, so it was before the book. I preached posture all the time. And today, they definitely have the knowledge. And I will say that it's for their betterment. They definitely have learned it.
Good preventive health care to keep you out of the doctor's
Yeah.
office, out of the hospital, and
Yes.
be healthy.
Yes. Yes. Prevention. Yes. There's enough people in this world. And if I could just be a physical therapist roaming the world speaking prevention, boy, let's just do that. I would love it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, it's 1 o'clock. We'll have to close out the meeting. So let's, anyone else have something to say about?
Okay. Well, that was fun.
Thank you, Pauline, for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're
Hope we'll
welcome.
get
And if
to-
you need me to come again, maybe I'll see you in person soon, because you know that
Yeah.
should be the next when airports are open and you know when we do more traveling and things are safer. I would like to be present physically to see the group, and that would be nice.
Yep.
So
Hopefully
God
sooner than
willing,
later.
huh?
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so
And everyone,
No, go ahead.
say it again.
No, go ahead, Pauline.
Oh, I want to say, everyone on the Rotary Club, I want to thank you for all the work you do. I read about the Rotary Club, and I thought that was a wonder. You guys do wonderful work, and yeah, I was just very pleased to read about the Rotary Club and all the people you help. So great job, great job. I want to acknowledge all of you. And thank you, John, for having me.
Thank you. Pleasure. All right, to close out the meeting, we've closed it out with a 4-way test. It's something we recite. Usually I have a poster, but I don't have the poster with me. It's so we just have to go by everyone saying it. So let's see if everyone's trying to unmute everyone. All right, the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First is
Truth.
second
Is it fair to all concerned? Or will it build good, build and better friendships?
Fourth.
and fourth, we
Would it be beneficial to all concerned?
all concerned.
It's on this coin, you just can't see it.
Yeah. Everyone needs
I
a
was
coin.
trying to make it bigger. I was trying to make it bigger.
Yeah, you can it's really hard to read it from there. Anyhow.
Ring the bell, ding, to close out the meeting.
All right.
All right.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.